I am challenged in this space to show love abundantly, particularly as it concerns black men. And I've had conversations with black men and black women. And the reason I've chosen to take this particular position of loving on black men is because what I noticed is that what happened in my own life was that about 2 weeks ago, I guess when Ahmaud Arbery happened, all the black men in my life called, checked on me, texted me, asked me, wanted to know how I was feeling, shared with me their disappointment or frustration. It was about, I got like 7 phone calls were initiated to me that particular day when the video was released of Ahmaud Arbery. When the video of George Floyd came out, these same 7 guys, in addition to other guys that I reached out to, were radio silent. They had, even I called, I texted, I FaceTime. The only guy who responded to my reaching out was my gay best friend. And he said, when I FaceTime him, he said, I can't talk right now because I'm trying to process what I've just seen and what's just happened. I proceeded to reach out to all the black men in my life and say, I love you, I appreciate you, and I respect you. Because I wanted them to know that they had a safe space to communicate and deal with the emotions that they were experiencing. What I found is that a lot of times, now, I don't have a problem. And let me just say this. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, the black men in my life are just takers. I don't have that issue. Got past that. All the black men in my life are very loving, supporting, very giving. They show up for me. They love on me. And I'm appreciative to them. So for me, when I saw that they were all so silent and were unable to communicate in this time, it made me want to communicate and reach out even more. And so I decided that I was going to intentionally love on black men, whether they were strangers, whether they were past lovers, whether they were friends. I was going to be intentional about loving on black men. And so whether that means me cooking, calling repeatedly, texting repeatedly, taking you to the movies, taking you, bringing you food, whatever that meant, I wanted to provide a safe space for black men to be able to express themselves. What I also noticed as a result of what I chose to be intentional about is that when I asked these same, as I was giving my love to them, and I've noticed this, but I noticed it even more so as I'm giving my love and I'm showing my love, they are very uncomfortable with it, telling me like stop or not being responsive. If I say I love you, I respect you, I appreciate you, I either don't get a response. If I get a response, it's like, go on girl, like a friend of mine was saying, like, you being weird right now. All from just showing love, just by saying I love you, which I think speaks volumes in and of itself. And so I wanted to create, or for me, I wanted to be a vessel and foster love always, right? And I found that a lot of the black men in my life are great givers, okay, of love. They show up, they support, they do, like great givers. But as far as recipients, they do not know how to be receivers of love. And I really believe it's because the only time black men are often shown love is in the bedroom. So they're only allowed to show the emotion of anger, and they're only shown love in the bedroom. And so then we get these guys who are out of alignment and imbalanced, and so we find them to be, womanizers or sexually manipulative sexually, or maybe sexually deviant, whatever the word is that you use, right? But oftentimes it's because I think that they lack the opportunities. We, society, does not give them a lot of opportunities to receive love many places else outside of sexually and their mother. And so when I have conversations with black men about, well, how do you receive love, they often are very silent. Like, what can I do to show you that I love you? Like, how do you receive love? And they have to be like, and I'm just like, this is odd, because when I ask them the same question of, well, how do you give love, they rattle off a list of what they do and how they support and how they show up and how they give. But they don't have that same understanding of how to receive love. And so it becomes this interesting observation that I've made that has led me to be like, no, I'm going to love on black men because they need it. They need love outside of sexual spaces. They need to have a hug that is not attached to I like you, or I want to be with you, or romantic involvement. They need to understand that love is abundant in a way that has no attachment to validation or no attachment to what I'm going to receive in response to this. I find that we provide safe spaces for black women to receive and give love, more so now than we did before, right? I'm not saying that black women are not also in need of love, but I'm saying black women have found meditation, they have found yoga, they have found groups. We are more expressive we are allowed to be more expressive of our feelings. And nobody's gonna think anything of it if you cry, or if you being what women, you doing what women do, right? And so you're allowed to express your emotions. But black men have not yet been given that space. I had a black man reach out to me to help him in his process of getting in alignment. And he said he particularly was drawn to me because I was talking about things that black men are not talking about. Journaling, affirmations, things that are helpful in helping you process and get to alignment. But black men just have not yet been given the space and opportunity to have those discussions. We allow our black men to kind of be very linear, right? There's like, this is the acceptable black men behaviors, and then all of this other stuff is woman behavior or homosexual gay behavior. We don't allow our men to express their emotions, and then we don't allow them to process their pain. We don't give them spaces to understand love beyond sexual or mother relationships. So I find that in this space, what I can do and the best thing that I can provide is to love on black men so that they feel safe enough to actually have conversations that are painful, to have those vulnerable conversations where they can say, and even though I don't know the answers, I know that right now black men are not getting the opportunity to necessarily be expressive. And so when I see anger happening, it's, to me, is a larger display of not having love in other spaces, of not having the proper outlets to deal with pain. And so I am being very intentional about showing love to every black man that I encounter. So when I say I'm loving on black men, or I love black men, and a black woman says, well, we need love too, it's not that I don't love black women. I am a black woman. But what I see is that we have outlets, we have spaces, we have conversations, we have friends. But from where my angle sits, and even because black men are so deprived of love on a general sense, that when I say I love you, you have to tell me to go on, Janelle, or girl, you being weird, or here you go with that. because you're so deprived of love that the only time you experience love is sexually. And so you are deprived from getting any kind of love. And so the only emotion you can show is anger, and the only love you can get is sexually. That's a very limited lifestyle, and it adds to the frustration and it adds to the explosion. And I'm like, I don't want to add to it. So I want to help create safe spaces and safe conversations so that black men can express themselves without being looked down on, without feeling like I can't have these feelings, I can't deal with this. I want them to know peace. And so peace is found in alignment, and they often don't have the tools to get in alignment because we won't even allow them to express themselves honestly. I am not saying that I have all the answers, but if love being abundant is one of my causes, then I'm going to love on the people who I see are not getting a lot of love. They're not getting the love of outside of sexually, right? Because we know they getting it in. But outside of that, they don't get hugs. They don't get told I love you. They don't get. I was like, I asked a guy the other day. I was like, when was the last time that you got like you received love? And he was like, last week. Last week. So you done went a whole week without receiving love? Like, in your opinion, that's crazy. Like, when was the last time somebody touched you and it wasn't a sexual relationship? Like, did you get a hug? Have you, you know what I'm saying? Did somebody rub your back? Because if physical touch is a love language, then it's important that you receive that love language outside of physical, sexual, like outside of sexual contact. And that if somebody does not ever show you love, like, then it's going to be very difficult for you then to return any kind of love into this space. So I am charged to, like God is love, and I am charged to love abundantly, because without that love, without me precipitating that love, then what happens is all I see is a manifestation of fear and anger, right? Because you're frustrated. So I'm like, I'm going to love black men because I see that they don't have a lot of spaces to receive love. I keep asking, like, well, how do you receive love? When was the last time that you touched someone and it wasn't sexual? When was the last time that you felt like you were seen, heard? When was the last time that someone complimented you and you didn't think they wanted anything from you? When was the last time that someone did something for you and it was not quid pro quo? When was the last time that you were able to just be a recipient of love without any kind of expectation attached? Because a lot of times women will be like, we give our men love all the time. You give the black men who you like love. You give the black men who you in love with love. And then you be mad, right? Because they don't return it back. But I'm asking you, when was the last time that you loved on a black man without seeking validation and without seeking a response? Even if he says, go on about your business or whatever, it's because he has not been used to receiving love. And that's really unnatural to who we are as people. But that is the situation that we put our black men in. Is like, they can't get any love from us without us attaching some kind of, well, I'm cooking for him, but I have a ulterior motive. I want him to like me. I want him to see me, etc., etc. Now, perhaps someone could argue, and I think it could be argued, that the black woman is doing that because she also doesn't feel seen or heard. But what I'm saying is a lot of black women have found space within themselves and spaces with other women to actually facilitate the love that they need or not from ourselves. And ultimately, it should come from within. It should come from God above. But I think we should. Okay. Oh, he's up. Okay. Oh, because I just generally know what time he gets up. But so I think that we have to find ways to be healthy and love our black men, specifically in spaces like this, and just in general, because I think if they don't have proper outlets to love, then they actually are, if they don't have proper outlets to love, then we actually do our whole community a disservice. I'm gonna do research and of course kind of talk about this more at length at a later time, but I just kind of want to drop that. That's why I keep saying I just want to love our black men, and I'm being very intentional in loving on black men, because ultimately I think that lack speaks to, there's many ways to contribute to where we are right now. Mine is to stay committed to my purpose and my process and what I'm called to do. And I'm called to teach and show love abundantly. And so from that space, I'm going to love black men abundantly. And that's where I'm at. And I'm still exploring this, but there are quite a few observations that I've made regarding this whole loving black men thing. And so I'm gonna keep y'all posted, but I just wanted to come on here because that was on my heart and I just wanted to share it.